Hey guys, welcome back from spring break. We're just going to spend today doing the same thing over and over and over again. We're just going to be identifying what we're given as congruent, figure out what we can derive or can infer or figure out from the triangles what is congruent, and if we can say the two triangles are congruent, and if they are, state how we know. So we're going to start with just this triangle. I know it's been a minute since you've done this, but that's okay. All right, so right now, the first thing that I know is that, gotta wait for my cute little drawing tools. There we are. Okay, so when I see lines like this, that's just marking these two sides as congruent. So that means that I know that the line YP is congruent to the line UP. There's a reason that I'm writing it this way. Just believe me for right now. All right. And then there's another thing that I know is congruent. It's right here. It's marked with one line instead of two. So here I know that BP is congruent to RP. Again, there's a reason I'm writing it the way I am. Just believe me for right now. So right now what I have is a side and a side. So like here's side one, here's side two. Side one, side two. Those two sides are congruent. From what we remember from last time we had class, we need either an angle or another side. We need some more information here in order to say they're congruent. And where that angle is placed is going to greatly determine whether or not we're able to say if it's congruent. All right, so what can we figure out? Well, a lot of you last week impressed me by noticing that vertical angles are always congruent. So this is a vertical angle with this. So I can figure out that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, or in other words, angle BPU is congruent to angle RPY, because these are the same. Same thing, just written in two different ways. And I'm able to say this because they're vertical angles. And vertical angles are always congruent, okay? Now, the cool thing now is I have this angle here. So I have side, angle, side, because I have this side, this angle, and the other side on the other side of the angle. So I can't actually say that these two triangles are congruent. So state that the two triangles are congruent. So I'm going to say that triangle BPU is congruent to, now I have to be careful here. I could say triangle. Now what is the same as angle B? Angle R. What is the same as this angle P? Angle 2, well, angle P again, right? And U is the same as, Y is the same as U. So RPY, and we know this because of side, angle, side. If you didn't quite catch that one, we're going to literally be doing this over and over and over and over and over again. It's super exciting. Okay, so this is the ending. That's nice. All right. So today, all we're doing is we're focusing on identifying and justifying congruence of triangles. That's it. That's our focus. As you can see, we've got quite a few examples. Now, remember, these are the ways that we can say it. We have either angle, angle, side, or you could do side, angle, angle. Both of those are correct. Angle, side, angle, side, or side, side. Okay? You always need 3 pieces of information to prove congruence. You cannot make an ass out of yourself, which is the same thing as SSA. You cannot have 2 sides and an angle outside of those 2 sides congruent, because you can move this line and still have the 2 sides congruent and the angle. But all of a sudden, the triangles are not the same. So therefore, it doesn't work. And then angle, 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 because you have no side length that's stuck, then you can't say that it's congruent. Notice that every single one of these has at least one side length. At least one. Right? Because there's one here, there's 2 here, and then all 3 of these are sides. All right. So these are the 4 properties that work: angle, angle, side, side, angle, side, and side, side. Okay. We're going to use that information to help us out here. So we know, so it already told me some stuff. I know that angle S is going to be congruent to angle I. Why? Because they're marked congruent. So I'm going to say angle S is congruent to angle I. Now, I don't have to specify because there is only one angle S that I'm going to be talking about and only one angle I I'm going to be talking about. But if you look at T, there's two angle T's. There's angle STK and angle ITN. So it matters which one you're talking about. All right, the other information I'm given is right here because I've got the little dashed line thingy. So I can say that line KT is congruent to line NT. Now notice K and N would have the same angle measurement. So that's why I'm putting the K and the N in the same spot. Okay. All right. Now I can derive something. And if you haven't guessed it yet, it's going to be these vertical angles right here. So I can say that angle STK is congruent to angle ITN because these are vertical angles. All right, so we've got all of that going on. So I've got a side, an angle, and an angle. Is angle, angle, side one? That works? Yeah. So I can say triangle STK is congruent to triangle ITN because S and I have the same angle measurement. T and T have the same angle measurement, and K and N have the same angle measurement. Okay, and we know this by angle, angle, side, or you could say side, angle, angle if you really want to. Both of those are correct. Okay, that was beautiful. Okay, let's try some more. We've got more to do. Don't you worry. There's so many. All right, so let's do this one. So it says, state what additional information is required in order to know that the triangles are congruent for the given reason. So right here, I'm given side, angle, side. I want to prove these are congruent by side, angle, side. So right now, I'm given an angle. So I know that angle A is congruent to angle D because those little markings. Okay, so I have an angle. Now I need two sides because it says side and side. Okay, so we already know that line AB is congruent to line DE. Perfect. All right. We can figure out if we wanted to. So we've got a side and an angle. We can figure out about this angle. So I could say that angle ACB is congruent to angle DCE. But that doesn't help me much because I need another side. So I have a side and an angle, but I need the other side on the other side of the angle. So I need this one here. Let me change my colors so that it's more obvious what I'm talking about. I need this right here to be congruent because this is side, angle, side. All right, so let's go ahead and write that. So it's AC is going to be congruent to DC. This is the additional information I needed to prove those two triangles are congruent by side, angle, side. All right, let's try this again. So right here, I'm going to be given a side and an angle, but I need another side. So the side that I'm already given is PL is congruent to AF. Oh, that's cool. And then I know this angle is congruent. So I know that angle F is congruent to angle L. And I can tell that by all the markings. Okay, so I've got this marking here. This is the same as this marking here. And I have this marking here is the same as this marking here. Now I need to mark another side as congruent because I need side, angle, side. So right now I have side, angle, but I need another side. Now this is tricky because there's two sides left, but I need the side that's on the other side of the angle. So this angle right here is made up of two sides. It's made up of PL and LI. Well, PL I've already marked as congruent. So LI is what I want to be congruent. So I'm going to put LI is congruent to, now, what's in the same place as LI, but on the other triangle? You're right, it's FT. So I want LI to be congruent to FT. This is the additional information I want. There is a question like this in your test. You should definitely be paying attention to this. Okay. If you haven't printed out the notes or done something with the notes, you probably should. Or take notes. All right. So these ones we want to prove by side, angle, side. Okay. So that means a side, an angle, and a side, if you haven't noticed. We're kind of stuck on this one. We really want you to get side, angle, side. Okay. So I already know that angle A is congruent to angle D. I know that because it gives it to me. So there's my angle. Then my side is going to be AB. This is the exact same slide as the last one. Well, dumb. Moving on. This one's still side, angle, side. We really want you to get this one. Okay. So right here, I know that HA is going to be congruent to RA. And then we're given no more information. This is the only stuff that's marked out. So that's a side. Now, if you haven't already noticed, we've got some vertical angles here. We've got this one and this one. So I can say that angle EAH is going to be congruent to angle TAR. Okay. And this is because they are vertical angles. I'm just going to put VA for vertical angles. Okay. What additional information do I need? Because right now I have side, angle, and I need another side. Now, is the other side going to be HE? No, because that isn't marked. That isn't the other side of the angle. So my other side is going to be AE. So AE is going to be congruent to, and then I need this one to be the other side of the odd angle too. So AT. This is the additional information I needed. All right, on this next one, it wants side, side, side. Right now I'm given an angle. Do I care about that? No, because I want side, side, side. So right now, I know that SH is congruent to HI. Perfect. All right, and I also know I can figure this out, and you guys probably can figure this out too. HP is congruent to itself because it's the same line. So I'm going to say that HP is congruent to HP because it's technically the reflexive property, but I'm just going to be putting same line. They're the same line. So of course they're congruent. All right. It wasn't given to us, but we know that by looking at it. We're like, wow, that's the same line. It has to be equal. All right. So the additional information I need is side, side, side. So I need the last side. So right now I have this side and that side. So now all I need, this one's fairly easy. SP is going to be congruent to IP. There we go. That was the additional information I needed. I apparently decided I wanted it in red. All right. If you need more time on this slide, please go ahead and give it a pause. On this next slide, I want you guys to please try it on your own. So you're going to state if the two triangles are congruent and state how you know. So this isn't like find missing information. I want you to try this one. It's just stating how you know they're congruent. So write down everything you know that's given, write down everything you know you can figure out, and then from there, see if you have enough information. All right, so hopefully you paused the video and gave it a try. If not, that's okay. You'll just keep following along with me. All right, so we've got SP is congruent to AP. I know because it told me. So I know SP is congruent to AP. So here's a side. Perfect. Okay. I also know that TA is congruent to ES. I know that because of this little line right here. Okay. And then I can figure out, if you haven't seen this already, there's vertical angles right here. So I can say that angle TPA is congruent to angle EPS. And this is because they're vertical angles. I'm going to put VA again for vertical angles. Okay. But let's see if that's enough. So right now I have an angle side, side. So I have angle side, side. Is that enough to prove congruence? I hope you remember the thing I said at the beginning of the video because I'm not going to say it again because parents are watching. So here we are. So no. So these I cannot prove. So not enough information. Okay. I can't prove congruence. I don't have enough. All right. Let's see on this next one. Let's see if we can figure something out. So let's see. I've got this side here and this side here marked as congruent. So I can say that SO is congruent to EO. Okay. I can also say that angle V is congruent to angle L. And hopefully you guys saw this before I said anything. This is vertical angles. So I can say that angle LOS is congruent to angle VOE. And right now, this is what I have. I have an angle, side. Now, is that one of the ones that work? Angle, side? Yes. So these are congruent. So I'm going to put the little triangle congruency statement thingy. So I'm going to say triangle, and then I'm going to do LOS is congruent to triangle. Now, L is the same as A, so A. O is the same as O, so O. And then S is the same as E, so E. I really should make that list squished. A-O-E. So they're congruent by angle, side. Cool. I love it. All right. Now we're going to go to this one. Notice this one wants additional information required. I want you to go ahead and pause and see if you can figure it out. All right. So hopefully you pause the video. So right now I know that angle T is congruent to angle P. I know that because they're marked. It's very obvious. And hopefully you noticed right now there's vertical angles right here. So I've got angle RIT is congruent to angle SIP. Basically saying these two angles across from each other are congruent. This is by vertical angles. Okay. What else do we need? So right now we have angle. So we have angle, but I want a side not in between them. So you've got two options really. You can either go with this side because that's not between the two angles, or this side because that's not between the two angles. So pick one. I'm going to pick RI. I don't know why, I just like it. So I've got RI. It's saying this one, and then I'm going to say that's congruent to the same thing that's going to be RI. So I is going to be the same as I, so I know that it's going to end with an I. Now, R is going to be the same as S. So SI. So this is the additional information I needed. I needed that RI is congruent to SI. Cool. All right, now this one, we want angle, side, angle. So we want the side in between the two angles this time. So we're going to first mark our two angles that are congruent. And luckily for us, they're already marked. So I know that angle A is congruent to angle I because they're marked with the same stuff. I also know that angle N is congruent to angle M because they're marked with the same stuff. Okay, now I need the side in between them. And it should be fairly obvious to you, but if it's not, that's okay. It should be this side right here. Do you see how that's in between the two? Perfect. If you do, great. If not, you're going to need to practice this a little bit more. Okay, so I know that this side needs to be congruent to that side, so I'm going to write NI is congruent to MA. Okay, hopefully you're doing okay. We're almost done, guys. We're so freaking close. Only two more problems. Okay, so each triangle below has two corresponding sides or an angle or angles marked congruent. Indicate the additional information needed to enable us to apply the specified congruence postulate. What that means, that's exactly what we just did. So right now, we know that this side is congruent to this side, and we know that this angle is congruent to this angle. We want angle, side, angle. Okay, so I've got angle, side, and I just need the other angle. Okay, so that'd be A and F. So I'm going to say angle A is congruent to angle F. Okay, what if instead we wanted side, angle, side? So we technically don't know angle A because that's what we decided on the last one. So I've got side, angle. Well, the other side of that angle would be right here. So I'm going to say BC is congruent to DE. Okay, I want you to try the next one. Just give it a try. See if you can do it without my help. And if you just want to do it with me, go for it. All right, so on this next one, I have that MQ is congruent to SD. And I also have that QT is congruent to VS. I can see that. Okay, so if I want side, angle, side, I want the angle in between the two sides. So that's going to be angle Q and angle S. So angle Q is congruent to angle S. Okay, and this next one, if I just want the extra side, that would be this side right here. So I'm just going to say MT is congruent to VD. Okay, how you doing? You doing okay? All right, let's go ahead and try this one out. All right, so are the figures below congruent? Why or why not? So let's take a look. So we know what's given is we know that angle 2 is congruent to angle 6. We can see that because they're marked with the same red thing. We also know that line C is congruent to line F. So I'm going to put C is congruent to F. Okay. Now, what else can we figure out? If you haven't seen this yet, you hopefully are starting to see vertical angles. So I can say that angle 3 is congruent to angle 5 because they are vertical angles. I've just started marking it with VA because it's shorter. All right. Now we have angle, side, angle. Are they congruent? Yeah, they are. And they're congruent by angle, side, angle. Okay. That's it for today. I know it was a lot. We went over lots of different problems, but you've got this. I love you guys. I care about you. And hopefully this week's going to be an amazing week.